I packed my stuff. I said to husband, nah, I can't be here. I can't take this. I'm out of here. Packed my stuff and I left and I went to a hotel. Okay, welcome back, family. Welcome back. So, as promised, part two. And this one is about baby boy, how he came to join us and his story. Yeah. So, obviously, I've got to say big up. Thank you for watching part one about me and husband, baby boy's dad, how we hooked up, etc. etc. So, okay, let's get into it. So, by this time, me and husband were about 2-3 years in. And so we're like, okay, we're starting the baby talk a bit. But obviously, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. So we're not trying to, rush it too much, but we can feel that our souls are drawing to that more. So what we say, okay, we'll end the pull-out game, yeah? No pull-out game, just go with the flow. If a soul decides to join us, then we'll welcome the soul in. You get me? If not, not. So it was soft family planning, you get me? No hardcore family planning, but you get me? Soft one, like kind of doing it halfway and leaving the rest to God just to see what happens. So that's all going on. And then around this time, I decided to go for a career change, right? Like a lot of my work before that was a lot of like social care, support work, housing, mental health, homeless shelter, a bit of that. And then sometimes I'll do some other little random stuff like more nightlife stuff like waitressing and catering. Like I told you, my auntie had a little team. So those used to be my things. And then I was like, oh, I want to go for a little career change, right? So I decided to go and train in beauty. I was like, you know what? Beauty's popping. Women love it. It's something that, you get me, it's a trade basically, something I can do with my hands. If I lose everything, at least it's a skill I've got with my hands. You understand? So I trained in that. I did my level 2 in beauty therapy in central London. That was lovely. And then I continued on to do a level 3 because you gotta have a level 3. I think back in the day you could get away with just a level 2, but now if you ain't got level 3, you can't get no job. So I did the level 3. Everything was well. Everything was good. So after I completed the level 3, like 2 weeks later, some recruitment people got in contact. They were like, yo, this spa hotel's looking for a beauty therapist, yeah. And I was specializing in massage solely, so I trained in all the other stuff like nails and all that, but massage is what I enjoy the most. So I said, yeah, cool, that sounds all good. Got the job, was doing my thing. Then whilst I'm at work, I get an email. I check my email, and the place that we had been living in there for years. The landlord was like, the estate agents got to us and was like, yo, landlord wants to sell. I was like, oh my days. Oh my days, landlord wants to sell. We were not ready to leave that place. Like that place was beautiful. I told you guys I'll talk about some of the places that we had been to. So this place we chose was much more smaller. Literally, it was a 2 up, 2 down. It was like a little den. It was like a little hideout for us. I wish I'm going to check. I've got photos. I don't know if I have enough photos to show the dynamics of it, but I'm sure I have one or two. It was like being back in your mother's womb. It was so cozy. Like, you understand? Was not ready to leave there. Then, boom. Couple days after, whatever, found out we were pregnant. So it's like, okay, just got a job 2 weeks ago. Now, landlord's like, you gotta go. And then baby's like, well, here I come. So I remember us telling husband, my in-laws, yeah, and they giggled. They were like, yeah, they come in threes. We're letting you know. When things come up in life, they come in threes. So here me and husband are looking at each other like, bruh. Now, When I look back here, I remember when I had to do my beauty therapy exams, point came that I had to do them online. So the invigilator will be on the screen too, watching me. I'd have to show my ID, show everything. I have to show them a video of my surroundings. No one else could be in the room, stuff like that. All the exams, I was doing it, pat, 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 passing. Next, next, next. But the last one came, guys. I don't know what it was. I just had to keep retaking it. And it was always by like some silly percentage, you understand? Very frustrating. 2%, 3%. I was like, what's going on? When later on I came to find out I was pregnant them times. So I was like, makes sense. Now when I think back, I do remember having some sensations in my stomach, literally while I was doing the exam, but I don't know what I thought. Maybe I just thought I was hungry or something. I don't know what it was, but I definitely didn't think it was that. Another thing is that job that I got at the hotel, the spa, yeah. I remember, guys, the day of the interview, I remember waking up late. Not like me. I always set my alarm. You guys even know from Italiano, I set my alarm just so I can get to my bedrooms in time to go to Scotland. And that was just even a general mosh. I don't play with my alarm, you get me? For an interview, my alarm set. Guys, I missed the alarm. So I wake up, I'm like, rushing, got there quick. And I remember all along thinking, oh, what's going on with me? You get me? It's not like me. I cannot wake up this late and I'm rushing for the interview, blah, blah, blah. This is not good. I got there on time, but when you're having an interview, you don't get there on time. You get there before time, you understand? So for me, it's already not a good look. I'm not late, but I'm on dot. It's not good. Luckily, though, they were still happy with me. Boom. And obviously, I got the job. But now I look back, I'm like, yo, you get me? The hormones had already started doing their thing all around that time. But the thing is, the proper, like the morning sickness and the proper symptoms, it doesn't, everyone's different. But for me, it didn't really start showing till about 9 weeks in. You understand? Enough for me to know, like, whoa, I am therefore, you get me? So, like I said, it was about 7 weeks where I was like, hold on, obviously, missed period, the oversleeping and really feeling tired. So, obviously, eventually, I was like, okay, let me check this out. And thanks be to God, that was the case. So, guys, let me talk about the pregnancy now, yeah? So, I don't know if you guys remember in my other video, Nightmares I Will Never Forget, right? Where I talk about my experiences with miscarriages, abortions, and stuff like that. Now, in one of those pregnancies, if you recall, I talk about how the guy I was seeing at the time, whatever, how he made me feel sick. The car I was driving at the time made me feel sick. So that's kind of one of my symptoms. If I'm like sometimes some of my usual settings that I'm in all the time, if I get pregnant, it's like I can't be there. So the house we were living in, though I loved it so much, as I've just said before, I couldn't be there. Guys, it was so bad. I packed my stuff and I left. I packed my stuff. I said to husband, nah, I can't be here. I can't take this. I'm out of here. Packed my stuff and I left and I went to a hotel. Husband had to grab his little bag too and join me. So we were in a hotel for the weekend. After the hotel, I was like, nah, I don't want to go back. I still feel sick. Can't go in that environment. So I ended up going to get an Airbnb. Got to the Airbnb now, booked it maybe I think 3 days, whatever, chilling. And then this was the type of Airbnb where the host lives in the house as well. But he was like on the other side and it was a proper nice yard. You get me? Like country, we were doing the country thing. So it was nice. Friendly guy. And I remember texting him on day 3. I forgot his name. It was like Alan or something. And I was like, oh, morning, Alan. Can I extend, please? And he was like, yeah, sure. So it was like I extended with him for another. I think I was there with him maybe another 5 days. We were, but obviously husband will get up and go work in it and then come after work and whatever. And I think it got to a point where the host was like, yo, like kind of what's going on? How you feeling? How you doing? And I explained to him, I said, look, we're expecting a baby, but this is what's happening to me. And guys, one of the things that was ruining me was what do you call it? Washing up liquid. The smell of washing up liquid ruined me, specifically fairies. For some reason, and at the time we were using that in the house, right? We were using it because our previous place had a dishwasher, so cool. But this place didn't have a dishwasher, so you get me. We were using thing. And obviously that smell made me so sick. That's what basically made me have to move out the house. That very So anyway, I said to him, look, yeah, this is how I'm feeling. Just can't be in that environment. Don't want to be there. This is my situation. And he was like, raw. I'm like, yeah, raw. Then, funny enough, obviously, as we get talking, he explains how he used to be a masseuse as well. He used to be a massage therapist. I'm like, no way. He's like, yeah. Now he's like an older man. So he was like, I'm happy to give you a massage, like just on my back. So it's like I'm sitting up in a chair, he's behind, and he's just giving me a back massage. I couldn't believe it. I was like, absolutely, that's what I need right now. You get me? Because I'm in a different headspace. So here I am sitting up, and my man's giving me a back massage, and I just thought, look at my life. Trust me to end up with an Airbnb host giving me a back rub. You get me? I'm like, oh God, typical me, innit? Typical me. So big up to him. I think I lost his number when baby boy was born. I wanted to text him to say, yo, you get me? Baby boy is here and all that, but is what it is. So how it all ended up going from there, yeah? So they give you 2 months notice before they ask you to leave. So when I started getting all this sickness, I've probably been doing hotel and Airbnb for 2 weeks. Me and husband had already booked a round trip around Europe again. So that was taking us into another 2.5 weeks. So we did that. So I spent that time at the house. And then after our planned trip, husband's family, my in-laws, they have a yearly like UK getaway as a family. So as family, they all meet up every summer and do a UK getaway. So that was then booked once we got back from our holiday trip. You understand? So that covered me. You get me, like 2 months or whatever, maybe a little bit less, 6 weeks, whatever, but it covered me through that period. So I didn't have to go to that. I only went there at the end, like just to do a few packing and all that. By then, it wasn't too, I could manage being in there. And that's kind of what helped me. So now we've landed in our new spot and we've settled in that. The hospital that I was registered with, they provide like parenthood, soon to be parents, pregnancy kind of classes. It was like a 6 week course, whatever. So I spoke to husband. I was like, "What do you think?" He was like, "Yeah, you know what? Why not? In it, like let's try and prepare ourselves as much as possible." So we got involved in that class. It was online every week. I think it was like every Monday. We learned all sorts of stuff. We learned about like breastfeeding, colostrum, which is like nutrients that come before the breast milk. So when the baby's born and they latch on straight away, they're actually not drinking milk, they're drinking this colostrum thing, which is like proper jam packed with mummy's nutrients in it. So it gives them a good old boost before the breast milk comes, which is actually 2-3 days after. So I didn't know that. I learned about that. I was learning about different painkillers that you can have during labor. We were learning about sleep, when the baby comes and all that. We talked about mental health and different kind of stuff you can feel being pregnant and after, and where you can get support. We looked into we had like first aid training. You get me, how to basically keep your baby alive if an incident happens, and home births, preparing for your hospital back, all them things. Like it was extensive. We even had like big booklets, paperwork, all of that. So that was interesting. And then after that, after the 6 weeks, they done a social. So like every couple or woman or whatever that was on the call, we all then met up at a place face to face and kind of like, socialize. I was on the Peanut app. I didn't meet anyone from there, but I had some good combos on there. You get me? That was funny. That was good. Like in regards to like just socializing and mentally trying to prepare. That's what it all kind of looked like. Now, when it comes to my symptoms, yeah, not a lot of people have this, but I also had excessive saliva. Now, let me tell you about it if you don't know about it. Basically, you just consistently spit throughout for 9 months. Literally, you're just like that, trying to find a place to empty your mouth because basically it's a hormonal thing basically, and it keeps firing a certain gland, and it just makes sure like consistent. When I say consistent, I mean consistent, no breaks. So you're basically carrying a bottle with you and spitting in it consistently. Or if you're at home, you can go to your bar. But if you're out at a restaurant socializing with people, you gotta be craziest thing I've ever been through. Like I wouldn't wish that on anybody at all. I really, really wouldn't. And it feels like such a pointless symptom because you might have like sore breast or whatever. Yeah, because the breast milk's coming through. You understand? Excessive saliva for what? Like, what am I doing with that? The only pro I will say, when you're pregnant, there's like a high risk of your teeth getting mashed up. A lot of women end up with mashed up teeth. So because of that, when you're pregnant, they offer you free dentistry care, like dentist care. You don't need to pay. They give you a little card, whatever, and you go as frequent as you need to for them to check your teeth. And I think it even lasts a year after you give birth. That's how bad your teeth can get. Now, because I had excessive saliva, and saliva has got nutrients in it that are good for the mouth, that's why we salivate in general. So I never had no problem. I remember going to the dentist after, and he was like, "Oh, your teeth are absolutely great." I was like, "What?" Because the way everyone's going, "Oh, your teeth get mashed up when you have babies." So I went there ready for the worst report. My man said, "No, your teeth's perfect. You're all good. Get up, go home." I was like, "Wow, okay, go." So I guess that's one blessing because true say teeth is also one of them ones where when you start getting bad teeth, you know, that it's a painful getting, and because they're so visible as well, it can be quite an emotional and difficult game because you can't really hide your teeth. You see them every day and others see them. So when you start getting mashed up teeth, it can get difficult. So yeah, maybe actually now I'm on reflection. Actually, I need to thank God. Actually, maybe, but yeah, still wouldn't want to go for that again. Okay, so a time came, yeah, where I had to go to the hospital for another reason. Not even for my thing. I've gone there to visit someone else, yeah. I've got my big belly wobbling around. I've gone to the hospital. When I'm there, I get a call from the midwifery team, yeah, the midwives, whatever. They're like, "Oh, you know what? We missed something, and you've actually got dot dot dot. So you need to come in for an injection because we've now seen that you got this thing." So I'm like, "Whoa, you get me? This sounds a bit extreme," because the thing they were talking about was extreme. That's why they were like, "You need to come in for this injection." So I said, "You know what? Funny enough, I'm actually in the hospital." So they were like, "Okay, when you're free, can you come to the up floor, whatever, and let's give you this thing." So I said, "Okay, I'll be free around this time," which was maybe an hour or two after. So they said, "All right, come." So I get off the phone and I'm chatting to the person I'm visiting. I'm like, "Yo, this is what they're telling me." And we're all like, "Really?" 20 minutes later, they call me back. "Oh, actually, you ain't got the thing and you don't need the injection. Sorry about that. Like, sorry about that. Misdiagnosis. Sorry about that. You get me? Don't come for the injection. You're cool." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay." And yeah, it was a bit shocking because what you're telling me is extreme stuff. Like, what kind of mistake are you making? Guys, I'm in the hospital. If it wasn't for the fact that I was a little bit busy, I would have said, "Okay, I'm going to come now." By that time, they would have injected me with this thing already. They would have injected me with this thing already. So it's very important. You get me? I always tell people when you're making a decision, take 3 days. When you want to get back to someone, have a minimum of 3 days to ponder on something, because or in 3 days you experience tiredness, hunger, different emotions, and all those things affect how we process things and the decisions that we land on. Whereas 3 days, you will get to see fluctuations in your opinion about that one topic. You understand? Obviously, I couldn't give them 3 days. I probably could have, but the way they made it sound, and obviously, I just trusted them. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a few hours because I did have a feel like don't run up there because I still needed time to process what they were telling me. So that's why I said, okay, you get me, give me a couple hours because at the end of the day, I'm in the hospital, so I can just come up there in 15 minutes and come back down to the person I'm visiting. But I was like, no, let me hold off, stretch this out, and look at what it led to. So, like they say, always try and seek a second opinion. Always ask a bit more questions because I should have been a bit more like explain to me how you got to that outcome. Like, what did you see? Where did it come from? What is this about before they inject me? You understand? But when you're pregnant, sometimes your brain's a little bit, pregnancy brain is a real thing. So maybe that's why I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll come in a few hours and then inject me. So that's why they say God, well, they don't say, but I say, that's my term. God guides. G, not G, however, God guides, and that's it. Let him guide, you get me? A time came here where I was interested in having a home birth. Everybody's got different reasons why they want to do a home birth team. But for me, for some reason, I don't know why I had it in my head, but I didn't like the idea of giving birth in a hospital and then leaving the hospital to go home. That made me too afraid. I felt like if I give birth in the hospital, I rely on that support so much. When they then send me and husband home to go home with our baby, I would be like, like, you get me? Like, I'm going home with a baby, like, no, I want to stay in the hospital and I have the nurses here to help me, you get me? That's what my baby. So I said, if I have baby boy at home already, then I won't have to go through that transition because I'm just at home already. So I'm in it now. I'm in the deep end. Let's go. You get me? So I was like, okay, if I can do a home birth, I would have preferred that. So they said, okay, cool. We put you on the home birth team. So with the home birth team, you don't really go to the hospital for your appointments. They come to your house because they come to your house, check that your house is fitting for it, visit you in your home because that's where it's happening. So they want to keep that environment there. So you have all your appointments there. So that was a pro. You didn't have to travel. They'll come to you. So I have a few visits with them. Everything's going well. And then one night, I have a dream. In the dream, me and husband are upstairs chilling. And I decide to go downstairs. When I get downstairs, I go into the kitchen and then boom, baby boy sitting on the counter, but it's not his face. He's got a face of an adult, but a body of a baby. But I know it's him. So I'm a bit like, yo. And he's like, Mum, why did you give birth to me here? Like, I don't want you to give birth to me here. I want you to give birth to me in a hospital. And I'm like, yeah, I said, yeah, I was thinking about giving birth to you at home, but I hadn't really fully settled on it. Like, I'm still, you get me, gonna test the waters. But I just came down for a drink and you popped out. Like, I didn't plan to give birth to you at home. You just came out, you understand? And now you're here, like. And he was like, yeah, no, don't give birth to me at home. Give birth to me at the hospital. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I remember going back upstairs to husband and I said, yo, baby boy's downstairs. He's cool, you know. He's a cool guy. He's going to be cool when he comes. He's going to be chilled when he comes. Like, we ain't got nothing to worry about. Like, he's cool. He's easy. And husband was like, is he? I'm like, yeah, yeah. So when I woke up from the dream, I thought, because sometimes they do say in your dreams, sometimes you try to process some of your fears and anxieties in your dreams. So I was like, maybe, obviously, home birth, there's some risk to it, innit? And I'm not denying that. I'm still aware of that. So I'm a bit like, is that me in my dream just trying to process my fear, some of the worries I do have about a home birth? Because at the end of the day, I've got worries about hospital birth and I've got worries about home birth. So is this me trying to, you get me? So I didn't rule it out like, yeah, I'm absolutely going to the hospital, but I was just a bit more open-minded about both options. I've been open-minded about both options, but I've been leaning more towards the home birth. But now I'm like, okay, it's more like 50-50. We'll see how it goes. So my next appointment with the midwife was due and she came a couple days after, a week after, I can't remember. She came and she said, I've got some bad news for you. I said, what? She said, basically, because of like the season we're in, the ambulance service tend to be under high pressure around that particular season. So because of that, our hospital or the NHS, whatever, have had to rule out and cancel all home births around that time. Because if anything happens to you at home, the ambulance will not be able to get you in time to get you to the hospital. Because the ambulance being on call is already part of home birth. That's natural. That's not a new thing. But what she's saying is, with that particular season, it takes them longer to get to you. So because of that, basically, we can't offer you a home birth. Before she finished, I said, don't worry, my son's already come to me in a dream and told me. She was like, what? And I explained the dream to her, and she was like, sounds about right. She looked at me like, okay. And I'm like, yeah. Like, he literally said to me, Mommy, go and have me at the hospital. So there we are, looking at each other like, okay. So I guess he was preparing, because if she just came to say that to me straight and I was still like home birth heavy, that would have hurt. It still hurt, I can't lie, but it would have hurt more if baby boy didn't come and tell me what he also wanted. Because in the dream, because obviously I love him and I care about him, so his opinion matters. So it wasn't just a dream showing me how it was him using his own mouth to say this is what he prefers. You get me? So for me, I was like, oh, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. I'll come to the hospital. So time's progressing, guys, yeah. And now baby boy's due date's come and gone. Nothing. I'm overdue still. Nothing. I think I hit 42 weeks. 42 weeks type of overdue, yeah? So because of that, they say, okay, one of the midwives come and they're gonna do a sweep on me. So if you don't know what a sweep is they come, they check, your cervix to see if you've dilated at all. And then what they do, they get their fingers and they swipe around on your cervix, because basically there's like a form of, like, there's a layer there. I'm just going to say a kind of mucousy layer there. When that kind of breaks and dissolves, then labor kind of starts. So what they do to help labor start is they can sweep it and basically remove it themselves, and then it can start the process. So she comes and she does that. And she's like, you know what? You're actually about 2 centimeters dilated. So something's going on. Let's see. And she swipes. She goes, if the swipe works, we'll start to see something in like the next 24, 48 hours. That time came. Nothing to go on. So call them again. They come and do it again. They're like, okay, you've come to about 3. They swiped. I wait again. Nothing. I'm like, what's going on? So I say to myself, I'm like, they've said to me, okay, it's going to get to a point where if still nothing to go on, you're going to have to come hospital and we're going to have to induce you, right? Which I know I've heard is painful, and there's a lot of things, because it's kind of forcing the baby out. And if the baby's not really ready to come out and you're forcing it out, then it can lead to so many other things, like a lot of emergency procedures, because things are a bit, you get me? So I wasn't really interested in that. Already I've gone from home birth to now overdue to now potential, you get me, being induced. So the times come and I'm like, what's going on? You get me? I can feel that something's not really, really right. And me and husband looking at each other like, we feel like we need to get baby boy out, man. Something's not right. We need to get him out of my stomach. So around the next day was like a holiday type day. So I'm not even expecting the midwives to be, you get me, at least a home birth team to be like on call or anything. But then one of them call me. So I pick up, I'm like, hey, she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. You get me, I'm here. She's like, oh, do you want me to come over? And I'm like, yeah, it would be good for you to come, but I don't want you to give me a sweep, because I started having a negative feeling about the sweep. I was like, you guys have sweeped me twice, nothing's happened. I'm like, don't sweep me again. I said, I don't want to sweep, but you can come and check if there's anything going on. So she came, she checked me, she said, yeah, you're still just about 3, nothing. But then this midwife, this is a different midwife. This is the first time I'm having this one. I've never seen this one before. She come, done the sweep. She said, you know what? I can feel something a bit knobbly, I'm like, knobbly? She's like, yeah, I think I can feel his toes, I think he's in the not a wrong position, but he's not head down. I'm like, really? She said, yeah. So she goes, I'm gonna send you to the hospital. Go in the next hour. Let them check properly with the scan and everything, and let's check what position he's in. So me and husband have a last meal, And we go to the hospital in the afternoon, and they're like, yeah, he's breech. He's in breech position. So for those of you who don't know, breech position, baby's supposed to be head down, ready to come out head down. Breech is anything but that position. Some babies can be across horizontal. Some babies can, like for baby boy, he was just completely upside down. So his head was up here, and his feet was down there, and his feet and his legs was crossed. So baby boy sitting like Buddha in mummy, you get me? He's like, I'm Buddha, like I'm king. You get me? I'm God, I ain't coming out. You get me? I'm staying in here with mummy. I'm cozy. I'm happy. Don't make me come out there. You get me? So that's how my man's positioned in there. So they look at me now and they said, yo, he's breached. And remember, he's 42 weeks. So my man's big already in there. You get me? They're like, it's too late for us to do a ECV or EVC, something like that, which is where they attempt to turn the baby. It can be painful, and then sometimes it can make your water break because of all the pressure. And I think when they're that big, I don't even know how much water he's already really got around him. You get me? So it's all a bit techie. So the doctor lady says to me, look, you can push if you want, but it may be a bit of a matting. There's a high chance we're going to have to resuscitate him, because obviously what happens is if his legs and all that come out, when it gets to his neck, he's going to be tight. So we're going to basically have him to do some things to get him out. And then we're probably going to have to pump some life back into him. It's just all going to be a lot. So you can still do it, though. We're not going to stop you. Or you can have a C-section. So now it's like an elected semi-emergency C-section, but still elected because they're still giving me a choice. But she's saying, because he's so overdue, basically coming tomorrow morning 7 a.m. and I can give you the C-section and take baby boy out. So me and husband just look at each other. It's like, we got less than how many hours to make this decision? Because remember, because I'm already 42 weeks, we're already sitting on the edge. So like I said, I probably haven't even really got the 3 days that I would have used to make a decision. I probably don't even have it. I could have forced it, but I don't really have it. In my heart, obviously, I haven't planned for C-section, as you know, because I've gone from home birth. Anybody talking home birth is not talking C-section, you get me? So I've gone from home birth to overdue to possible getting induced to now C-section. So you can see the journey. So motherhood, pregnancy, birth is adventurous. You get me? It's God guides, literally. Like that's my motto, and now I had to live by it and let God take control. So I look at me and husband look at each other, and we kind of just said, yeah, probably C-section is probably what's going to be best, even though it's so far from what we ever thought. So they say, okay, come in tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I say, cool. So we get up, we go home. Nah, husband loves African food, you get me? He loves Nigerian food, ogbono, forido. He loves it. He makes me take him to Nigerian restaurant. Whenever he flicks at his hand and he dips in that pounded yam, and everyone wants to slap. What? They think my man's coming to eat jollof. I'm there eating jollof. My man there, he loves it. Obviously, he loves Ghanaian food. He loves the mucho, and he cooks it all. He cooks those foods, but I don't cook them food. Do you understand? So he's already cooked a mucho at home. So we've gone home, and then he served me a mucho. So we're there eating a mucho before we go, giving me that last power. Eating a mucho and watching something silly on Netflix because the news we've heard is still heavy. But me and husband, you get me? We're cool people. We're just relaxed. So we're not gonna let it ride us, but you still got to process your emotions. So we knew we have to keep things light because what we've heard is still a bit heavy, innit? I've called my parents. I'm like, oh, mum, dad, just got back from the hospital. This is what they're saying to me, blah, blah, blah. My mum and dad were in the car together driving back from somewhere. And I was on loudspeaker, and then they prayed for me, and that was really encouraging. I needed that. They prayed for me. They said, all will be well, all's good. So put down the phone. Me and husband are eating our food. Husband play, obviously you guys know, like I said before, he does music, innit? So he's got guitars. He loves his guitars. Like, it's even annoying because he's got like 4 or 5 guitars. I'm like, they're tucked under the bed. They're here, they're there. I'm like, anyway, so he's flicked up the guitar now to play it for baby boy, to help baby boy maybe possibly come out. As my man's playing the guitar for baby boy and me, just you get me, for us to be calm. I'll see if I've got a video of it somewhere actually. We get a call from the hospital. Oh hi. Basically, the handover, the new doctors and that have come in and they've checked your record. And what they're saying is, basically, can you come back to the hospital right now? I'm like, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, basically, the way it is with baby boy, if your water breaks right now, baby boy is at a serious risk, very serious risk. I think because of his position and maybe placenta and the water. I forgot all the details, but they said if your water breaks at your house, by the time you get to us, it's a bit long. So we want you to come back tonight, stay in the hospital. So if it breaks, you're already here. And then at the same time, then too, you're just already here. So you don't need to wake up in the morning tomorrow and come. You're just already here tonight. And then in the morning, we do the operation. So I'm like, oh, okay, get me. I wanted to finish my mucho, have a nice tea, shower, go lay down. So I said, all right, we'll come then. We'll come tonight. Put down the phone. But we didn't rush to go. We were finishing our food, watching our thing. The hospital called me up because they called me at 9 p.m., So now they call me at 10. They're like, oh, hi, are you coming? Like, they like, so that's when I realized they were trying to do it gently, but they want me to get there ASAP because they're saying you can break any time because you're 42 weeks. You can break any time. We've already sweeped you twice. So if we sweeped you back then and they were successful, baby boy would have had an issue. You understand? So we're already on edge. We don't want no more cases, especially with you black ladies. You get me? So please come and let's keep everything cool. You get me? So when they call me again, I'm like, I said, I'm coming. They're like, no, you need to come. I said, all right, cool. So then we got there. I was like, can husband come? They were ready to give me everything. They were like, your bit, he can come. We'll give him a little, he can come. All of you come. So we get there now. And then they give us a nice little private room. We weren't on a ward or nothing. We were on a ward, sorry, but you know what? You know those wards where it's like everybody's kind of in a room together, but just got the curtain. But no, we were in our own room, own bathroom, everything. It was nice. We slept well as can be, obviously, because for me, it's like I know tomorrow. It's like I'm seeing baby boy's face. So there's only so much sleep I can have because adrenaline, you understand? So the next morning comes, they come in my room, have a word with me about the procedure, give me paperwork to sign, give me medication. So we do all that and we're good to go. Then they come because they give us all the things. They give husband the things to wear, give me the things to wear, whatever. Okay, yeah. So they collect us. This is they collect us. They're taking me to the theatre. We're rolling to the theatre. We get to the theatre door. They're about to put me through the door. Then they come. Really, really sorry. We've just had an emergency with another lady. She needs to come. She's just been in the theatre, but she needs to come back. And I'm like, no, that's cool. You get me? If there's an emergency, like, take me back to my room. That's cool. Like, let her come through. Do what you got to do with her. That's fine. So yeah, we get back to the room. And then we were even like waiting for an hour. I remember me and husband, we managed to have like a quick kip again. And we had a kip. Wake up now. And then they're like, okay, we're ready for you. So I'm like, cool. So as they're taking me, when I get in there, I've clocked that I forgot to take one medication. It was proper small and tiny. And something happened, but I clocked. So when I get in there, I told the doctor, yo, one of the pills you get me, I forgot to take. He's like, it's all right, whatever, it don't matter. I'm like, okay, cool. They have me on the bed, putting the epidural in me, guys. It was a mad feeling to feel yourself lose the feeling in your body. Words can't describe it. First of all, feeling that needle go in your back, words can't describe it. And then to lose feeling in your body, words can't describe it. And then it kind of makes you feel away a little bit. You get me? You can feel this sensation, not sickly, but something's happening to you. Yo, that was, everything about that was quite intense. So they lay me down now. And then they allow you to like bring a music playlist to play so that, you get me, it's your vibe, because obviously you couldn't have the birth that you had planned. So they try to make it as unique for you as possible. So I got my playlist there, all sorts of music. I think I can see if I still got that playlist. Got my playlist there. Husband's next to me. I'm holding his hand. You get me? We're doing our thing. Blah blah blah. Just chatting. Just oh my god, about to see him soon. Whatever. They're over there doing their thing. And then after, I'll say it took about, I remember looking at the clock, maybe it was about 40 minutes or something like that. Then you get me, when they were pulling him out, I couldn't feel it, but you can just feel the movement of like, okay, so he's out now. And then it's quiet for a few seconds. And then you hear him like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm just getting goosebumps for a minute now. And then they drop the curtain and show you the baby so you can really see them right there and then. And I remember thinking, wow, like he's nothing that I imagined. Obviously, you know, they look different when they come anyway, but still, he's just looked like nothing. I didn't imagine him to look like that. No way, nowhere. So I was probably like, like wow. Like this came out of my belly. This was been in my belly. I was like, wow. They laid him on me, and then he was just like feeling my face, like, yo, that's my mommy, yeah. And then I'm looking at him like, is this you? Yeah, like, wow, is this you? And even till today, like when he wants comfort, he does that. He'll come and he'll touch my face like that, and it just reminds me of the moment. I'm like, yeah, you've been doing that since birth. You've been doing that since birth, guys. But one thing I'm gonna say without too much detail, yeah, baby boy, the time that he came out, was a sentimental time, like that resonated with something else in my life. So when I look back, guys, if I went into the theater the first time, he never would have come out that time. He would have come out a different time. The fact that they said, wait, hold on, don't go in. Go back to your room and come back later. Guys, in that little chop, baby boy ended up being born at a time in my life that falls at the exact time in another time in my life that was a key moment. I said, wow, my angel has arrived. My angel has arrived. And another thing is, yeah, when I met husband, them days I was like quite into my crystals and that. Not as heavy, I was a bit slowly, but it was still a part of my life. He's not really into them things necessarily. He's open minded, he don't mind, you get me, but it's not his thing. He's not gonna go and buy a crystal for himself. But I've shared it with him. So what he's gonna done, he's gonna bought me crystals because the girl that I wanna marry says she likes them. So he's gonna bought me green crystals because at the time I was working on my heart chakra. So I said, oh, the heart chakra, you get green crystals, you get me? So he's gonna bought me a green crystal in the shape of a heart because I've gone and told them I'm working on my heart thing too. So that was a special crystal stone for me, you understand? Now, at the hospital, when babies are born, because they can't regulate their temperature, they put a hat on their head straight away. And then they wrap them. After weighing them, they wrap them. The hat that they put on baby boy was a white hat with a green heart right there. When I saw it, I said, no way, this thing's getting out of control. This thing's getting out of control. First the time, and now that, I said, wow, my boys are here. Like, my boys are here. Wow, God, guys, see, this is another definition of God, guys, because I did not plan that. Because at the end of the day, we could have brought our own hat. You get me? It's your baby, innit? Bring your own hat and put it on. But what I liked is the hospital have a charity who specifically ladies knit hats for babies. So I like that idea. So I wanted to be a part of that and get a hat from that because I could have brought my own out of all the hats. And it wasn't even like, oh, we got these 5. Which one do you like? No. Whoever pick that hat and put it on baby boy. And I was just like, wow. So I definitely have stern signs and messages from my own experience where I know what I want. You get me? So now I come out of operation. I'm thanking the team. I'm like, thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Now they take me back to the ward. Me and husband are just chilling. But then, guys, I start vomiting. Like, this is different type of vomit. And it's very watery. It's not even, because remember, you can't be eating before the operation. So there's nothing in my belly. Guys, it's coming crazy. They're bringing me the bucket, you understand? Because them little cardboard things is not cutting this. Well, they did bring that, but they had to pile it with bare tissue because it's just water. So they said obviously it's the medication and the injections and all that wearing off. It can do something to your blood pressure. But also, you know that one tablet I missed? It was that was supposed to be like an anti-sickness type. That's why the doctor said, you're here now, you missed it, you ain't taking it, it's all right. It's not the worst. He didn't break down to me what's going to happen to me because of it, but it wasn't one of the medications that I needed maybe for the procedure. It was a medication, I guess, for after the procedure. So that was a bit it was scary. I've vomited before, but that was scary. Like, I was worried. I was like, that's how bad it was coming out. And then eventually it died down and it stopped. So that night we're in the hospital, whatever, and I remember, so random, I remember watching Mike Tyson's podcast interviewing Cat Williams. That's what I watched the night our baby boy was born. He's there sleeping, daddy's there sleeping, and I'm up here watching this podcast for this. It's not even like one I watched that I now want to watch on today. I've just decided to click it, and it was a lit podcast. Like, it was so good to watch. It was interesting. It spoke to me in so many ways, and I was just like, wow, thank God, you know. And so we were good. By the next day, they were like, yeah, you've ticked all the boxes, all the checks, everything's fine. Like, you, baby boy, and daddy, we're happy for you to go. And we went. And luckily, I didn't have that anxiety that I worried about. I thought, oh my God, get me, I don't want to leave the hospital. I was excited. I was happy. I was ready to go. I felt confident. I was like, I can do this. You get me? Because so many good signs had been shown throughout the journey. The dream, the time baby boy was born. There was so much in it. God was telling me, I'm with you. Like, do not be afraid. You get me? Do not be afraid. Be bold. Be strong. For the Lord thy God is with you. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And I say that, I quote that specifically because I remember there was a time where I was still smoking weed heavily. This was just before I got pregnant with baby boy. And I remember that song coming to my mind. I'm thinking, remember, I'm not on no Christian thing. I'm not singing no gospel songs. Like, I'm bunning a zoo right now. But that song started coming to my head. And I was like, oh God, here we go again. What's going on? Why is this song coming to my mind? Little did I know what was, the future was to hold. So that was interesting. So we get home now, and guys, literally, I tell daddy, you sleep at night, you sleep because I'm gonna be up. I just used to be up watching baby boy, like, wow. Then I'll do a couple of things on my phone, watching. And then when the morning comes, that's when I'll start to rest. Daddy will wake up and he will kind of take over, make me breakfast, make sure I've got everything. You understand? And we kind of did it like that instead of both of us passing out, then me having to wake up every 2 hours to feed him and still be tired anyway. I was just like, I'm just gonna stay up. So obviously I did used to sleep early in the evening. That was it. I would sleep maybe around 5, 6, something like that, into late, like 8, 9, 10, something like that. So obviously I still had energy. Daddy would then go to bed normal time around 10, and then I'll kind of be with baby boy in the middle of the night. He was kind of sleeping, but obviously, like I say, they get up every 2, 3 hours to have their milk, so I wasn't having to go through that. So that was nice. I was on strong painkillers because of the C-section wound. So I was on very strong painkillers. They were like, you can't take these for more than 5 days. So after 5 days, luckily, I stopped the painkillers, but then the pain also, it didn't creep in on me. So I was like, oh, thank God. And then also because of the operation, I was at risk of blood clots. So you needed to take, I believe there were like blood thinning injections. You understand? So every night we had to do that for a week. That was like, husband will come and help me and then inject it. And then back to the painkillers, though, those painkillers were serious. I remember going to the loo, sitting down and hearing my C-section scar ripped open, but couldn't feel it. I only knew it happened because I could hear it. I could just hear it go, and I was like, wait, what's that? I was like, well, it could only be one thing. But thankfully, I didn't feel that pain, and then it still healed back okay. Everything was fine, you know. God was definitely good when it comes to that situation, man. I mean, there's so much more I can say, but I think I'll leave it there for now. And then hopefully, by the grace of God, we'll do the last bit of this series, which is part 3. And what I'm going to talk about in that is, you know, life now as a mummy, what was postpartum like. You get me, surroundings, everything that happened, because a lot still happens. You get me, once you get home now with baby, a lot still happens. That's when it all really begins. So I definitely want to share that video too. Yeah, I definitely want to share that one too. So once again, family, thank you for joining me. Clap for yourselves. Because someone put in a comment saying, oh, sometimes the honesty in my videos can be a bit overwhelming. Some of the details can be a lot, but they still come back because truth is power. And that's why I'm saying clap for yourselves, because a lot of you have, you get me, you have ridden through this journey with me. You guys have put yourself through some stories. You guys have heard some things, but you've been consistent to come and hear and learn from others' experiences to make better choices for yourself, or do whatever it is you want to do with my content. And you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. God loves a trial, so let's just keep trying, man. All right, lots of love. Ciao for now.